Here's a segment from a recent Gun Talk radio episode. You can listen to all the Gun Talk radio podcasts however you tune in, or check out guntalk.com for more. It is a pleasure to bring in somebody we've not had on the show before, and a company we've not had an association with before, but this is really kind of fun. The company is Ballistic Advantage, and the CEO is Adam Wainio. Hey, Adam, thank you for being here, man.
Hey, Tom. It's a pleasure. Yeah.
You bet.
Thanks for the interest.
So
yeah.
The question is, people are going to go, all right, who are these guys and what do they do? So when people ask you that, where'd you come from and what are you guys up to?
Sure. Yeah. Well, I started Ballistic in my garage back in 2008. It's kind of a mother of necessity type thing after my wife got pregnant, and I was in the CNC world and just was trying to figure out something to do and fell in love with barrel making and started with a manual lathe in the shop and then bought a CNC and hired some really strong people. And fortunately, we've had a really nice snowball effect since then, just really grown a fantastic company. I partnered with Aero Precision back in 2014, so that really helped supercharge our growth. But
right.
when it, just to boil it all down, just we focus on barrels. That's what we do. That's our core competency. That's our excellency, and we make a lot of them.
Barrels, I've always thought and heard from people that making really good barrels, at least traditionally, has been almost a black art, and no one would share their secrets of how they make really accurate barrels. And it was like trial and error trying to figure it all out. I don't know if it's still that way, but how did you go about figuring out how to make accurate barrels?
Yeah, no, that's a great question, because it was very difficult in the beginning to figure out just anything about the process. I knew I wanted to do it. It was two-axis machining. I figured, hey, I'm smart enough to figure that out, as opposed to the big 3, 4, and 5-axis world. But no, it was. We kind of started. It was a perfect time, and we fell into a perfect niche in that. As I looked around, you had a lot of kind of lower volume, more of custom shops, and then you had a lot of higher volume, more of the larger companies, and they were, a lot of people weren't real happy with the performance of the product they were getting. And so having started out as a custom barrel maker, just on the manual machine and engine lathe, I was forced to learn everything that was critical about barrel making. And then from that point, as opposed to just being a very strong CNC shop with no barrel experience, because they might approach it in a different manner to produce high volume barrels, and they kind of miss the key elements, because it really is an art form. And when you're looking at the steel, you're trying to preserve the full potential throughout the entire process. And so we were able to kind of combine that custom barrel world and the high production state-of-the-art world, and then develop a unique process that was not previously being done in the industry that allowed us to make very high performance barrels at a very low price point. And that was really what helped us build the name there in the beginning.
And we're talking about barrels for ARs, platforms, right?
Yep, the bulk of everything we make right now are for ARs. We do have a brand new cell coming online for pistol barrels, so we'll have pistol barrels coming out for Glock, Smith, and SIG here in the immediate months. So that'll be exciting. And then also the bolt gun world, too. We've been doing a lot of testing on that over the last year, and so we'll be releasing bolt gun barrels here in the near future as well.
All right, so the sounds like a real simple question. I know it's the hard part of the whole thing is, what makes a barrel accurate?
It's really, the most important thing is monitoring your tolerances and monitoring your concentricities. If you can start with a strong blank, which is really one of our strong points, is we have a fantastic blanking department that holds really critical dimensions. We scrap anything over 0.3 of a thousandth of deviation. So we're starting with a match grade quality blank, easily coming in at super match at times. And then from there, every other step of your process is working around keeping that level of concentricity throughout your chamber, throughout your muzzle. Just, if you start with that best possible piece with the blank, at that point, if you just honor that potential, you keep your concentricity and you watch your tolerances, you're going to wind up with a good product at the end.
Is it necessary for a barrel to be heavy to be accurate?
The short answer is no. It's largely going to depend on the sequence of fire. As a barrel heats up, it does start to affect and create deviation. So theoretically, the most accurate barrel for the longest amount of time is going to be as short and fat as it can be to maximize ballistics. I mean, once you do definitely want to be sensitive to the velocity of the round, matching that to the length of the barrel. So if all you cared about, and that's what you'll see it on the long range world, you'll see a lot of those big fat barrels, relatively stubby. But
right,
we shoot MOA all day long with a 7.5 inch 5.56 barrel with a 10.5 inch pencil barrel on a 5.56. Yeah, it's that was actually one of the things early on that we allowed us to stand apart. Is short barrels are known as being inaccurate, and we just said no, they aren't. Look, you can shoot an inch group all day long with this. To give it a try. We guaranteed it, and we shipped them out, and people were amazed too.
So what all do you guys make? What do you? If somebody goes on your website, if it's ballisticadvantage.com, what are they going to find there? What do you sell?
So we sell a huge variety of different barrels. I think we have about 115 stocking SKUs, multiple calibers, all for AR-15, AR-10 at the moment, until we release what we talked about a minute ago. So if you're looking for 6mm arc or 300 blackout, 6.5 Creedmoor, 308, 9mm, I mean, we pretty much, outside of some of the niche requests, we pretty much make everything you could want to put in the gun.
And I mean, you've got you're selling lowers as well. You got bundles. You got the whole deal. I'm just thinking about how the market has changed. Before the real popularity of the AR, if you were making barrels, you were pretty much making barrels for bolt guns, and that was very specific because it's a whole different deal to be able to change barrels out on a bolt gun.
Right.
I mean, it's not as involved as some people may think, but it is involved. Versus on an AR, it is basically a parts kit, and you just yank it out and put another one on.
Yep. Yeah, that really allowed us to grow early on as well, because we started right at the beginning of part sales on the internet. And so to be able to come out with a strong product and the end user could customize and change and do different calibers, it really gave us a huge opportunity to step into. And for our bolt gun stuff coming out, we'll have some pre-fit stuff, but we'll also be doing them with a Savage barrel nut, so people will have that same level of flexibility on the user end.
Okay. All right. I'm looking through the website. What is a Hanson barrel, and who is Clint Hanson?
Yeah, so Clint, we met a little over 10, almost 12 years ago, somewhere in that time frame. And he has the most experience of anyone I know when it comes to running an AR and understanding just the organic nature of the platform. And early on, he was shooting pretty much he was building for another company, shooting every barrel imaginable. And he started to hone in on certain parts of the barrel that he wanted to kind of combine together. So we were talking back and forth. He kind of threw the design out that he wanted to explore. Didn't have a print or anything. I took what he told me, we put something together, sent it back to him, and he was just really pleased with the final result. And that was the birth of the Hanson barrel. And so from that point, everything about the BA Hanson is about tangible feedback, actual perceived improvements to the platform. It's about creating or tapping into more of that organic kind of cycling flow of the AR, allow that pulse to be more linear as opposed to pulling up, and then using maximizing the perfect weight. So you're removing material where it's not as critical, but then keeping material where you want it. So you kind of get the optimum barrel as far as weight and function go.
What kind of rifling do you do?
Everything we do in-house currently is button rifling. And as far as twist rate, it just depends on, obviously, the caliber, the preference. Being that we do everything in-house, we can customize. We do work with some custom twists for certain OEMs. But everything right now is currently buttoning.
Adam, I'm just listening to you. You really love this stuff, don't you?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's definitely a passion. When I first moved to Florida, I never even knew what a CNC machine was, and that was only 2 years before I started Ballistic. And so stumbling into the CNC world and just seeing this whole, world of manufacturing and creating something that exists that we didn't previously, I didn't know it was there. And so to be able to learn about that, the fascination there, and then actually turn it into a business was just a huge blessing. Yeah.
And I know there are people who say, those guys who build their own guns, it's kind of their sloppy stuff, or they're throwing things together. They're just lucky that they work. that's not the case at all. When you look at what you're doing and the parts you're selling and the kits and everything, you can build a super accurate sub-minute of angle rifle.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it's pretty amazing how much the industry as a whole has progressed. Just the opportunity to really fine-tune your specific platform and to be able to trust the parts. You work with manufacturers you trust like us and put those, or marry them with other manufacturers that are making a great product, such as we were a big fan of Geisley triggers, and so just tremendous opportunity to make a very high functioning platform. If anything, I think that's the way to make the highest functioning AR out there.
Yeah, well, each one is customized, and if you pay attention to how you put it together and get high quality parts, you're there. And the barrel is the deal. That's the heart and the soul of the rifle. Ballistic Advantage making great barrels and other stuff. Exciting news. Keep us posted on as you come out with bolt gun barrels and your pistol barrels, would you please?
Oh, absolutely. Thank you very much. Yep.
Sounds good. Adam, I appreciate that. CEO of Ballistic Advantage. Check it out, ballisticadvantage.com.